which is in relation to the Supreme Truth. Purport. Sri Vyasadeva saw the all-perfect personality of Godhead. This statement suggests that the complete unit of the personality of Godhead includes his part and parcel also. He saw, therefore, his different energy, namely the internal energy, the marginal energy, and external energies. He also saw his different plenary portion and part of the plenary portion, namely his different incarnation also. And he specifically observed the unwanted misery of the conditioned soul, who are bewildered by the external energy. And at last, he saw the remedial measure for the conditioned souls, namely the process of devotional service. It is a great transcendental science, and beginning with the process of hearing and chanting the name, fame, glory, etc. of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Revival of dormant affection of love of Godhead does not depend on a mechanical system of hearing and chanting, but it solely and wholly depends on the causeless mercy of the Lord. When the Lord is fully satisfied with the sincere effort of the devotees, he may endow him with his loving transcendental service. But even with the prescribed form of hearing and chanting, there is at once mitigation of the superfluous and unwanted misery of material existence. Such mitigation of material affection does not wait for development of transcendental knowledge. Rather, knowledge is dependent on devotional service for the ultimate realization of the Supreme Truth. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-Jnana-Shalakaya Chakshum-Militannena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So today the class we are going to do the overview of this chapter up to this text first. Then we will discuss philosophical point of today's text and purport. Then we will see at the end how this text can be applied for Prabhupada's mood and mission, specifically for preaching. So we will start from an overview of this text. This part of Bhagavatam is very, very important part of Bhagavatam. First, Narada Muni instructed Vyasadeva to compile Srimad Bhagavatam, which is full of narration of Krishna. After his departure, he sat on Shamantaka. He did Archaman to purify himself, and he meditated. And then he saw the supreme absolute truth, along with the external energy, which was under full his control. Then after he saw overflowed misery of the conditioned soul, which are due to material energy. Then today's verse, it describes, after seeing all this, he finally saw the remedy for the suffering of the devotion of the conditioned soul, which is linking process called Bhakti Yoga. So that is the overview up to today's text in this chapter. Now we are going to discuss about today's text. Today's text has two parts. First part describe about what Vyasadeva saw. Second part describe what Vyasadeva did after he saw what he saw. What he saw was first the absolute truth. Absolute truth means something highest true, which is always true in any condition. Relative truth means sometimes it's true, but sometimes it's not. For example, if I say today is cold, it is true for someone think today is cold. So we wear jacket and sweater. But not everyone thinks so. Some devotees, I see some devotee is not wearing any sweaters, so feel not so cold. So today is cold. That is relative true because it's applied for somebody and doesn't apply for others. But absolute truth means it's always true and it's supremely true. Krishna said, Matta parantara nanyat kichit asti dhananjaya mai sarvan idam protan srute mai ganaiva. There is many truths, but all the truths are less on me as a power strong on me. So there is many relative truths, but everything rests on him, and he is the origin and highest of all the truth. That means absolute truth. And in this purport, Prabhupada said, what he saw is including his energies and his expansion. In the previous verse, the absolute truth is described out Purusha Purna. Purusha means person, Purna means full. Full means include everything, including his expansion, color, incarnation, ete chansan kalam punsan, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayan, Indriyani Bakulan Loke, Mridayante Yuge Yuge. There are many incarnations, expansion, plenary portion, and a portion of plenary portion. But Krishna is original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we say the absolute truth means Krishna, who is the origin of all incarnation, expansion, plenary portion, and portion plenary portion. The other category is his energy. Energy means many energy Krishna have, but mainly internal potency, marginal potency, and external potency. Aham sarvasya pavavo matta sarvam pavavitate iti matva bhajante man buddha bhava samamitam. I am the source of all spiritual and material energy, and one who knows this engage in my devotional service with all their heart. So Krishna is the origin of spiritual and material and marginal energy. But Vyasadeva sought Supreme Lord, and along with the Supreme Lord, separately, he saw the external energy. That means he didn't say that he saw internal energy along with the Supreme Lord. He saw the Supreme Lord and external energy separately. Means internal energy of the Lord is not separate energy, but internal energy is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's together. Prabhupada gives the example of the moon. When we say moon is shining so beautiful, that means moon is shining, and moonshine we see together. Moon and moonshine, shyness of moonness are not separate existence. Just like that, moon is compared to Krishna, shyness of light of moon is compared to internal potency. So Krishna and Krishna's internal potency are not separable. Therefore, when Vyasadeva saw the absolute truth, he saw the absolute truth and internal potency were included. Then he saw the external energy separately, which are under his control, full control. Daive Shagunamai Mama Maya Durataya means Maya external energy is his energy, but Maya is under his full control. Mama Maya Durataya, it is Krishna's energy, and Durataya, very difficult to overcome. Then he saw the overflow of suffering of the living entity. The living entity is marginal energy of the Lord, but he has independent will, and he is individual entity. Mamaiva jiva bhuta sanatanan manasastrani indriyani prakriti stani kansati. So living entity is a part and parcel of the Lord. This living entity is the part and parcel of the Lord, but they are struggling with material energy, which include the mind. So this is a very important point for the Vaishnavas against Mayavadi. The Mayavadi think the living entity, a part and parcel with the Lord, means just like you have the paper and you cut into pieces. Mabhaivansa jiva loka jiva bhuta sanatana. There is one paper and cut into piece. There is so many pieces of paper. That means Mamaivansa jiva loka jiva bhuta sanatana. Means there is one truth, one soul, but when it is cut into pieces, the living entities came into being. But that is not acceptable by Vaishnava because Krishna said, I am eternal, natvan evan jatunasan natvan eme janaripa nachaiva nabivisyama sarve bhayan ataparan. Never was a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor Oji's king, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. This verse is important for defeating Mayavadi, and it describes eternity of the soul and individuality of the soul. The soul, both our individual living entities, and the soul, the Supreme Soul, Krishna, are eternal, and both are always individual. That is the past. That means there is no time when we came to existence. There is no time when Krishna came to existence. Anadi, he is always there, and the living entity are always there. And now also, and in the future, it's not like when we are liberated, we merge into the existence and we lose identity. It's not like that. So the living entities always individually existence eternally. So that is jiva. Then we come to the point, what is that means superflow of suffering of the living entities? Suffering of the living entities in the material world is due to the contact with material energies. Because of the nature of the soul as such the Ananda, eternally full of bliss and full of knowledge, there is no question of suffering. But when the living entity comes into material world, because of contact with material energy, they identify themselves as a material product. Because of identification and because of our desire to dominate the material energy, they suffer. Example is given. Who is the cause of the suffering? Why the suffering existing? The cause of suffering, immediate suffering, is material nature. Just like children want to play in the sand pit, then the father ordered the labor to make the sand pit, and they will bring the sand and the bricks, and they will build the sand pit. Then children will play in the sand pit, and they will have enjoyment and suffering, because sometimes sand go in the eyes and fight each other and all that. So the immediate cause is the labor who supplies the sand and the brick they build, and the material nature is compared to that. Material nature provides sand and bricks or the material, so you can say the cause of suffering is material nature, or immediate cause. But ultimate cause is the Supreme Lord, because without sanction of the Father, sand pit will not be built from beginning. So the Krishna is ultimate cause. But that is immediate ultimate cause. But who is responsible for the suffering? Cause is there, but responsibility is on the living entity who enjoy and suffer. They cannot say that it is material nature, it is Krishna, why I'm suffering. No, because the living entity has their own independent free will, and their desire made material natures provide the place of enjoyment and suffering. And Krishna sanction is. And thus suffering is dependent on identification. How much we identify with material nature, we suffer more, we suffer less. Just like someone has a car, brand new, beautiful car. And if somebody hit that car and break that car, then they get so angry. Why did he hit my car? They feel like they are being hit personally. As much as that person is attached to car, as much as he is identifying himself with the car, he feels pain. But if someone else sees who doesn't identify himself with that car, it's not my car. I don't care that car is broken, because there is no identification with that car. So similarly, the living entity, if we identify ourselves, eternal servant Krishna, Sachidananda, then there will be no suffering. But if they identify themselves with material nature, they will suffer. There is a very nice shloka on this in the Bhagavad Gita 13:22. Purusha prakriti stosti punte prakriti jagunai kalana gunasangasa sarasa yoni jamashu. The living entity in the material nature thus follow the way of life, enjoying the three modes of nature, enjoying the three modes of material nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil among various species. So this is a long cherished desire of the living entities. In the previous text, in text 5, in the purport, Prabhupada gave very long purport. He said, in a conditioned soul, living entity has the ability to think and desire and will, even in the conditioned state. And in the liberated state, they also have the ability to think and will and desire. When in the conditioned soul, the living entities think and desire and will, they are under the influence of Karana Guna Sangasta, three modes of material nature. But in a spiritual state, when we think, will, and desire, it's under the influence of internal potency of the Lord. Prabhupada said internal potency is a function. Devotional service is a function of internal potency. So one comes under the influence of Srimati Radharani. We can think in the way how we can please Krishna. We can feel in the way how Krishna will feel happy. We can will in the way how we will do something to please Krishna. So it's never a time when we don't have ability to think or desire or will in a conditioned state or liberated state. Okay, so this is up to half of today's purport. Then Vyasadeva saw absolute truth and internal potency and external potency and suffering of the living entity. And now he saw the remedy for the suffering. And remedy of suffering of the conditioned soul is linking process called Bhakti Yoga. Prabhupada said it is a great transcendental science. Begin with the process of hearing and chanting the name, fame, glory, etc. of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Specifically, Sri Vyasadeva wrote Srimad Bhagavatam to mitigate the suffering of the conditioned soul, because we are paradukkha, dukkhi, not paradukkha sukhi. We see the suffering of others. We feel, oh, he's suffering, she's suffering, I feel better because I'm not suffering as much. He should suffer more. In a conditional state, we may think. But Vaishnava, when we see the others suffering, then they feel sorry. So Vyasadeva saw the suffering of conditioned soul, he felt sorry. So he wanted, like Srimad Bhagavatam, to mitigate the suffering of conditioned soul. Srimad Bhagavatam has many potency, but mainly, if we are categorized, two. One is to mitigate the suffering of the conditioned soul. One, to awaken dormant pure love for Krishna in your heart. How Srimad Bhagavatam can mitigate the suffering of conditioned soul? It's a great science, Prabhupada said. At least, Prabhupada said, at least when you are hearing about Krishna, at least that moment you forget the misery of the material world. If it's continue, it's better. But at least when you are hearing about Krishna, you forget. Just like someone is playing the sports, go to the soccer or basket and volleyball or martial art or whatever. When you observe in the sports, you forget, you don't feel what's happened to the body so much. You're so absorbed in the sports, try to win the game. My son sometimes come back from the basket on the volleyball. Ma, I didn't notice. I cut here, and then I have blood here, and then I got away here, and all that. But when he's playing, he doesn't notice because he's observation. That is a material example. But in a spiritual example, when Prabhupada was in America, he got sick in the beginning, and he went back to India. And then everybody thought maybe Prabhupada will not come back. Everybody was so sad. And when he did come back, he came through the channel of airport, and then everybody was waiting outside. And everyone was thinking, Prabhupada did actually came back. He's in the airplane. Everybody is excited. And Prabhupada, there in the airport, there is a fence. Behind the fence, Prabhupada was there. And everyone chanting, Prabhupada is there, we're going to see Prabhupada soon. Then, in the height of that intense feeling, Prabhupada has a beads bag, and he put the beads bag up. So everybody could see the Prabhupada's beads bag and hand behind the screens, and everyone went wild. Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada is back. So everyone jumping and chanting, and someone has the characters, and then someone is playing characters. And then because of so much in ecstasy, Prabhupada came back, someone hit the character on the head and started blaze, and he didn't notice, and newspaper reported, Hare Krishna Swami came back, and devotees chanting, they're breathing, they don't even notice. It was in the newspaper. It's like that someone is in strong ecstasy of meeting Krishna as Krishna devotee. It's not that the material misery doesn't exist anymore, but we don't even notice. There's a different stage. In the beginning, in sadhana stage, we see the material miseries, but we are taught we should tolerate. Madras pasast kanteya sitos naskarukara agamapayo nityam tantitikshastat bharata. I used to hate this shloka, but I started thinking it's actually nice. Just like happiness and distress, due to our mind, it comes and goes. Like season, now it's cold, it's becoming warm, and it's going to be really hot very soon. It's like that. It comes and goes. It's just due to our sense perception. We can't change it. We just have to tolerate. So that's the sadhana stage. Then when we practice more, then we come to the stage of bhava. Then we feel the existence of suffering and pleasure in the material world is insignificant. Because we have higher taste. It's there, but then it doesn't matter. It's hot, cold, just keep on. It's not like we force ourselves to tolerate, but we don't care anymore. Just like Abhishek. To attend Abhishek in Mayapur is really tough. Now it's because the lockdown and corona is not too bad, but before, Abhishek means packed up in a temple, thousands of people in a temple. So if you want to get the seat, you have to go there 3 hours before the Abhishek starts. And then everyone is squeezed to each other, and if it's in summer, it's so hot, and people sweating and next to each other, and yak, and loud kirtan, and noise, and heat, and then 3 hours, and then leg is pain, and hungry, and fasting, and all the material misery is here, even in a temple. But as soon as Abhishek starts, the deity come down and pujaris start offering different items. Then we forget who is next to each other, sweat and crowd and all. Haribo, Nitaigo, Premanandi, Haribo, completely ecstasy. We don't care what's happening here. We just feel, yeah, devotee, Haribo, Haribo. Suddenly we are so happy. We don't care it's hot or anything. It's like that. It's become insignificant. It doesn't even bother you anymore. Then in prema stage, the code Sandrananda Visheshatma means spiritual ecstasy is so condensed. It's like an island. Its atom is very densely gathered, so you cannot penetrate. Like if the atom is aloof each other, then supposed to, if you have water, you can put a finger in. But like this, so condensed, you can't put a finger. So spiritual happiness is so condensed, then you cannot put material misery in there. So just like that, that is the prema stage. For that stage, material misery, you don't even notice. It's not like spiritual happiness is superior to the material happiness. No, in prema stage, they don't even conceive it's there. Rather, Queen Kunti, Vipada Santu Sat Sat Pa Tat Tan Tan Ta Jagakuru Babanta Darshanam Tapiya Punam Madavama Darshanam. Let those calamity comes again and again so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means we will see repeated birth and death. She welcomes suffering, means material suffering. Because when material suffering is there, Krishna will come. When Krishna is here, the material suffering is nothing. But when material suffering is not there, Krishna may not come. Krishna was living to Dwarka. So she felt the suffering of material world is nothing compared to the suffering of separation for Krishna. So Krishna, please stay. I don't mind the material suffering, but I cannot tolerate the suffering of separation from you. Therefore, please stay. Let calamity come again and again. Like that. So complete mitigation of material suffering start from sadhana stage already. It's Kleshagni. Kleshagni is the first symptom of pure devotional service. complete mitigation of material suffering. It's there from beginning, but there is a different stage of condensedness. Then after that, Prabhupada talked about this does not depend on the mechanical method, but solely and wholly depend on the mercy of Krishna. Just like famous example, sparrow tried to drink the water of the ocean. Sparrow, she lost the egg. So she thought she want to get my egg back. So I'm going to drink all the water in the ocean. Of course, it is an impossible task, but because she was so sincere and determined, her brother came, Garuda, and he threatened the ocean, I'm going to drink up the water by myself if you don't bring back the egg for the sparrow. So ocean returned the egg. So it's not that we do something so Krishna can do like a mechanical method. It's not like that. Even Narada Muni, few texts before, Narada Muni was in the forest. He was meditating on the super soul, and Krishna appeared. Krishna is there. I'm so happy. Height of ecstasy. Then Krishna disappeared. And then Krishna said, because you still have material tent, you may not see me again. And then Narada Muni tried so hard to see Krishna using different mechanical method, but Krishna didn't appear again. So it is not a mechanical way, but later on, same Narada Muni, when he became liberated, he had a Veena, Krishna gave him Veena, he sang, and then he said, as soon as I play my Veena and glorify the Lord, as if being called for, Krishna appears in his heart and in his glorification of the Lord. So it is not a mechanical method, but because of our sincere effort, if Krishna is pleased, then Krishna will appear. Krishna will give us prema. Because prema is something like a gift. We already have, but we have to awaken. It's like a gift, have to be given. We have some small portion of love, but it's not enough to reach Krishna. But when we are under the guidance of spiritual master, we sincerely follow the spiritual master, then Krishna will send his own Aradhani potency from the spiritual world. Then that descends in your heart, that attracts Krishna. Shri Krishna Akashani. Krishna is attracted by only prema, means Srimati Radharani. Krishna is attracted by only Radharani and prema. But if somebody has prema, then Krishna become attracted to that person, because prema is Srimati Radharani. That's the meaning where it's said, it's not a mechanical way. Have to do our part with sincere effort, and Krishna is pleased, and Krishna will give us prema. Sudurlabha, pure devotional service is difficult to get, very rare. One reason is this, because Krishna will not give mechanical way. By our mechanical method, we are endeavoring, but it's not our endeavor itself we can get Krishna. That is one reason. Another reason is Krishna himself is reluctant to give himself to others, because once he gives himself to that person, he becomes controlled by him or her. Because that person has prema, then Krishna is controlled by prema, so he becomes under the control of that person. So he doesn't want to give himself so easily. That's why it's said, Sudurlabha, very rare to achieve pure devotional service. Then it said, But even with the prescribed form of hearing and chanting, there is at once mitigation of superflow and unwanted misery of material existence. That means even with prescribed form of hearing and chanting, that means sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means we follow the rule and regulation under the guidance of spiritual master and shastra. Even in that stage, mitigation of material misery will be there. That means first stage of devotional service, Kleshagni, complete mitigation of devotional service. So it's there like I think everybody has experience. When you came to Krishna consciousness, you feel all the material miseries will be disappearing. It's not like you had a problem, it's still there. But then you feel like so light before, oh, I have to do this, I don't know what to do. Just like Arjuna. Arjuna was in a battlefield. He asked Krishna, draw the chariot in the middle of the battlefield. I want to see who is here to fight against me, to please the evil mind Duryodhana. Then Krishna drew the chariot right in front of Bhishma and Drona. Arjuna likes Bhishma. Arjuna loves Drona. They are the grandfather, they are martial art teacher. He respects them so much. Now he has to fight with them, he has to kill them. And Arjuna said, I want them to be happy. I came to fight so that we can get the kingdom, so that we can become happy together. But now I see they are in the enemy's camp. I have to kill them. I don't know what to do. Nimittani viparitani. Nimittani means I expect something. Viparitani, the result is opposite. That happened to Arjuna's life, and it may happen in everybody else's life. Anybody has experience like that? I do something expected, someone will be happy, but the result is that person gets angry. I did something with great desire, but the opposite is completely different. Prabhupada said everybody experience in the material world. And later on, Arjuna surrendered to Krishna. What Krishna said when Arjuna surrendered? Kalpana dosoya. Kalpana doso pahatas pababan peccamitvan dharma samutta chaitahan yasya nishitam buhitam me shishaste hansani mantvam papanam. I'm bewildered by the duty of my prescribed duty. I don't know what to do. I saw I'm saying the right thing. I recited Artha Shastra, Dharma Shastra. I follow the Shastra, but now I don't know what to do. Kalpanya doso bhata svabhava. My svabhava is bewildered by kalpanya dosa, miserly weakness. Now I lost all composure. I don't know what to do. Please instruct me what is best for me. Shreya. Shreya means ultimate good. Please instruct me. In the purport, Prabhupada said, very interesting, the complexity of material world is natural for the material world. That means it's there. Doesn't matter you are Krishna consciousness or not Krishna consciousness. Even it's Arjuna, closest friend to Krishna. But material world is like that. It's made like that. What can I do? Prison house is prison house. Complexity of material world is there. Then what we have to do? Prabhupada said, Kalpanya dosa pahatas bhavava peccamitvan dharma samutta shesha. Yasya nishitam bruhitam me shishas dehan sarimam pampapanna. Shishas dehan. I surrender unto you. We have to surrender to the spiritual master. Then spiritual master can guide us how we can live in this material world and how we can get out from this material world by the linking process of devotional service. Then Prabhupada said, Such mitigation of material affliction does not wait for development of transcendental knowledge. Rather, knowledge depends on devotional service for the ultimate realization of the supreme truth. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Adokshaja means not like knowledge and renunciation will produce bhakti. Rather, when there is a bhakti, then jnana, asa, vairagya, jnana, knowledge, and renunciation will follow them. So it's not like we have to cultivate knowledge, otherwise we cannot get bhakti. If we have bhakti, automatically there is knowledge and renunciation. So this is the purport. The purport doesn't talk about second part of today's shloka. So today's shloka, half, the rest of the half. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature, which is in relation to the Supreme Truth. We are not Bhajananandi. Opposite to Bhajananandi is what? Goshtyanandi. Thank you. So we are not interested on our own deliverance. We are interested on others' welfare. Goshtyanandi. Just like Narada Muni, he got liberated, but he is not interested in going back to Godhead. He can travel anywhere, but he traveled to revive the dormant love of everybody. He taught Vyasadeva, he taught Dhruva Maharaj, he taught Prahlad Maharaj, he taught Prajnapahari, and many stories in Srimad Bhagavatam. Many of them are taught by Narada Muni. Then Vyasadeva, he compiled Bhagavatam for the welfare of others. And this stage I'm going to the third part of today's class, which is Prabhupada's mood and mission. How today's text is reflecting on Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission, especially preaching. Prabhupada is a follower of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya, even when he was baby, he cried and he wouldn't stop crying till everybody started clap the hand and chant Hare Krishna. When he grew up, he was teaching logic, but he always connected the topic to Krishna. Then after he took initiation from Ishwar Puri, he was always absorbed in love of God. He was teaching others. And he took sannyasi, he went to South India. He preached to everybody. And then he taught his followers also, Sono Sono Nityananda, Sono Haridas. Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna Shikha. Chant about Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, perform devotional service, Koro Krishna Shikha. Learn the teaching of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam is Amara Purana. It is absolutely good to hear, but even better than is induce others to hear. Even better than that is speak about Srimad Bhagavatam. And even better than that is induce others to speak about Krishna. So Prabhupada, when he was in Radha Damodara temple in Vrindavan, he was writing and he was producing back to Godhead. Someone said, magazine, it's good, but better you do something permanent, like a book. Then he started write Srimad Bhagavatam commentary. And then he came to America, he went to America with Srimad Bhagavatam. He traveled with Jaladuta with Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada said, purport of Bhaktivedanta is my ecstasy, my devotional ecstasy. So Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very important in two aspects. One is mitigate the material suffering. One is awaken the love for Krishna. Lord Chaitanya is famous for chanting Hare Krishna. Doesn't mean he didn't study Srimad Bhagavatam. He did study Srimad Bhagavatam. Famous example is Atmalama Shlokas. It comes in this chapter, Canto 1, chapter 7, text 10 or something. Atmalamacha munayo nirgrantana pirukrame. Guvante haito kimate itam bhutta gunohari. Sarvabhamatacharya thought Lord Chaitanya is only chanting and dancing sentimentalist. But when he recited this shloka, Lord Chaitanya defeated Sarvabhamatacharya. He explained this verse without touching Sarvabhamatacharya's explanation in many different ways. And later on, he explained Sanatana Goswami so many more ways. So he did study Srimad Bhagavatam. And of course, everybody knows he liked to hear about Dhruva Maharaj's story, Prahlad Maharaj's story. And Lord Chaitanya's follower as well. For Srinivas Thakur, he wanted to study Srimad Bhagavatam. This time Lord Chaitanya was already gone back to Godhead, so he went to study from Gadadhara Pandit, who was still in Puri. So all the way to Puri he went. He asked Gadadhara Pandit. And then because Srinivas Prabhu's Acharya later, his existence reminded Gadadhara Pandit. This time he was so absorbed in separation from Lord Chaitanya, he couldn't recognize anybody. But Srinivas Prabhu was so full of love, so it was reminded him of Lord Chaitanya. So he agreed to teach Srimad Bhagavatam. But then he said, but you have to get the book, because my copy of Bhagavatam is full of tears, because every time I read Srimad Bhagavatam, tears flow from my eyes. Because of tears, my Bhagavatam is all wet, can't read anymore. That means Lord Chaitanya himself, Lord Chaitanya's follower, for them, Srimad Bhagavatam is life and soul. It's very, very important. Not only just to read it, but with feeling we should read it. Not only reading, induce others to read. Not only you read and induce others, you speak on. And not only that, you induce others to speak. So, Prabhupada said, BBT is my heart, it's going to my body. He made a BBT apart from ISKCON. Even if ISKCON has problem, BBT will be always there. Yesterday's Guru Maharaj was, Sri Jayapataka Maharaj was talking about glorification of Lord Nityananda. He said that he was going to visit different temples Prabhupada established. The temple which has Gaunitai deity, because it was Nityananda's appearance that he wanted to visit different temples with Nityananda deity. And he said that Prabhupada established 108 temples, but now it's more than 400 temples. And I was thinking, apart from temple, there is Namahata Center, there is 1,000. And apart from that, there is a Bhakti Bhiksha, there is more than 1,000. And apart from that, there is each houses, Bhakti Kutir they call it. Even in Mayapur we see, we have Radha Madhava here, Panchatattva here, and Gaunitai there, and Bhajan Kutir. But each houses, I think everybody house, you have deity in your house? Yes. Everybody have some kind of altar. Someone has Gaunitai, somebody has Jagannath, somebody has Radha Krishna. That means we have only one temple, but there is so many deities. Material nature in the form of coronavirus said, look, I'm so powerful. I close your temple. Because of coronavirus, the temple was locked down. Even Mayapur and Vrindavan, coronavirus said, look, I'm so powerful, I close your temple. And devotees said, who care? We open the temple in everyone's house. Before, we used to preach in different places we should go. But because of coronavirus and lockdown, now we have internet. We can travel anywhere, just like Narada Muni, through the air. Narada Muni said he can travel anywhere without any restriction. We can travel with one click through the air. We can go to different places. We can meet anybody. We can make everybody chant. Just like I was thinking during a lockdown, there will be no book distribution, but book distribution score is growing like anything. There is no obstacle for spreading Krishna consciousness because the devotee are connected to Krishna and Krishna is unlimited. I would like to speak one story about Lokanatha Swami to illustrate how Prabhupada was determined. Prabhupada wanted Krishna consciousness spread not only in the temple. Making temple is good, but it's not enough to spread the holy name, to spread the glory of Krishna. I want to spread more. And someone suggested, what about Padayatra? And Prabhupada said, that's the very beginning, quite beginning of ISKCON. Prabhupada said, oh, this is good. He was in India. That person who suggested was India also. Prabhupada said, it's good, but my followers are mostly foreigners. They can't speak local language like Hindi or Tamil or Bengal. Then Lokanatha Swami, he can speak local language. And then he said, I will do. Then Prabhupada instructed personally what kind of card he should get, what kind of wheel they should have. And he even said, when you travel and stop, that spot should be near the water, because that is the place where people come. Then he was giving different instructions, and he was doing that. And a famous story, just before Prabhupada was leaving the material world and go back to the spiritual world, he called Lokanatha Swami, I want to talk with you. What time is convenience for you? And Lokanatha Swami said, it's no question of convenience time for me. Anytime it's good for you, it's good for me. It's not, Prabhupada was just a few days before he left the body, he's in such a condition, and he was asking, what time is convenient for you, to Lokanatha Swami? He said, anytime, whenever you. Then he said 4 o'clock, Prabhupada said 4 o'clock. Okay, 4 o'clock, the time was set. Then before the 4 o'clock came, Prabhupada couldn't contain himself, so he told others, actually, I want to go for Padayatra, to Govardhan. Then Lokanatha Maharaj heard that, and he immediately prepared a cart. He went to Mathura, and he brought cart, and he stationed the cart right in front of Krishna Balaram temple. He was happy in the way Prabhupada has that spirit. That means he's getting better. He's not leaving us. He will stay with us. He's going for the Guru cart, and he's going to be with us. He was so happy. So in that mood, he was preparing. Then at night, of course, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Bhavananda Prabhu, Bhakti Churu Maharaj, they convinced Prabhupada not to go, so he didn't go. Up to that story, everybody knows, I think. I also knew only that much. But then I found out, actually there is a story after that. Next day, Prabhupada told Lokanatha Swami, I gave up the idea of Burukat, but I want to go with bus. And Burukat is only in Vrindavan, but actually I want to go all over the India with bus. That is Prabhupada. This is just a few days before, and he's talking about taking a bus, and he wants to travel all over India. And the devotee around there was Giriraj Swami. He said, I also want to go, Prabhupada. I can make life member. If you take me everywhere you go, I will make a life member, and I will collect the money. I'm good at fundraising. Can I go? Prabhupada said, yes, you can come. Then Bhakti Swarupa Damodara Maharaj, he said, Prabhupada, everywhere you go, there must be scientists. So I can do the scientist conference I can preach to the scientists. Can I go, Prabhupada? Prabhupada said, yes, you can come. Then Bhakti Chaitanya Swami, he said, Prabhupada, I can drive. Can I come? And Prabhupada said, yes, you can come. And Lokanath Swami, he was thinking, of course, he knows he can go, he has to go, but then still he asked, Prabhupada, can I also come? And Prabhupada said most affectionately, of course, you are our leader. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. That's the determination of Prabhupada till the end, fighting like Arjuna to spread the message of Krishna. Spread the holy name of Krishna throughout the world ki jai. Spread the message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the world ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai go Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Sorry to be late, a few minutes late. If there is any question or comment.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
First, this glorious devotee here, His Grace Rasamai Prabhu, wants to lovingly serve the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis with some Mahaprasadam for their pleasure. So devotees are requested to just bear with us for a while till this question answer is completed so that Prabhuji can serve the devotees some prasadam.
Mahaprasadam ki jai. So he is saying that he is going to offer us some prasadam. So if you have time, you may wait. Oh, he already have. Okay. So while we are waiting for prasadam, is there any question?
Thank you for a very fine class.
Sorry,
wonderful,
after.
wonderful class, Kesavi. I'm thinking, Narada Muni, you made the point that Narada Muni didn't want to go to the spiritual world, but Narada Muni wanted to stay in this material world. And Prabhupada loved telling all of those stories, and particularly we are very attached to Lord Nrsingadev and Prahlad Maharaj, and we worship him here. Narada Muni's motivation, did it come from serving his father, Lord Brahma? Was his father heavily instructing him, you stay here, you're my son, you stay here and you spread Krishna consciousness throughout the whole universe? So my question is, Narada Muni, what was his motivation to stay here in the in the material world, in this world? Does that come through somewhere, like in a direct instruction?
If someone has love for Krishna as today's purpose, it's understood the mercy of a spiritual master and mercy of Krishna. So his spiritual master is, as you said, Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma was meditating on somebody. Narada Muni said, to whom you are meditating on? I thought you were the supreme. And Brahma said, no, I'm not the supreme. Krishna is the supreme. So he instructed to Narada Muni about the glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So Narada Muni's spiritual master and father is Lord Brahma. Then from there he certainly got the prema. Because before he was a servant of maid, and he was instructed by Bhaktivedanta in previous life. Then he left the body and he went into the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and upon he reappeared, he came as the son of Brahma, and he was instructed by Brahma. So have to come from the spiritual master and Vaishnava, and also directly from Krishna, because he has direct connection from Krishna also.
Wonderful, that's a good answer. Thank you.
Another point is like in the connection of what you said. Prabhupada said many times we should desire to go back to Godhead. At the same time, pure devotee doesn't even desire to go back to Godhead. So how we can reconcile this contradiction? It was discussed in Bhakti Shastri class many years back. Both are true. the best understanding, many understanding is there, but best understanding is first we have to qualify ourselves to go back to Godhead. And once we came to that platform, then it's up to you. You can stay or you can come back. But first, in our level, we have to desire to go back. That qualification, we have to have it. Then after you're there, then you can stay, you can go. Then that kind of person, you can make a decision, stay or not. But we should desire to go back to Godhead. And when we are here, because we are already here, then take as many as possible with us to the spiritual world. Suppose we go back to Godhead, Krishna will say, oh, you came back, so nice. Yeah, nice. But we come back with many others. Krishna, I'm back, and many more coming with us. And Krishna will be more happy. So when we are here, we try our best. And if we get that level, we can decide we can stay or we can go. Means if we are not strong enough, just go back. We are there. But we are strong enough, like Narada Muni, then we can make a decision to come back. I heard when Guru Maharaj had a stroke. First one, when he cut the throat in Spain, he saw that vision, he was going back to Godhead. And then in the entrance of the spiritual world, Prabhupada came with his can, and he put the can in front of Guru Maharaj. You didn't finish your mission, go back. And then Guru Maharaj was like, well, I'm going back to Godhead, Prabhupada sent me back, and he was coming back. That was 1988 or something. Then when he got a stroke, 2008, he was kind of half consciousness. Like everybody thought that he's gone. There is 99.8%. Then mass stroke, so it's almost like definitely he's going back to Godhead. Then when he came back to Mayapur after the stroke, he survived and everybody was praying. He came back. First thing he said was, in that semi-consciousness state, he was thinking, oh, but am I going back to Godhead now? But I have a ticket to go to England. What am I going to do with this ticket? I have to go to England to preach. He was on the way to the spiritual world. And it's 99.8% sure. But he's thinking, I have a ticket to go to England and I have to use that ticket. What am I going to do with the ticket if I go back to Godhead? I have to use the ticket to go there. I have to preach. And Krishna said, okay, go back. That. Vaishnavas, ideal Vaishnavas. So you have Prasadam is ready?
Regarding that question.
Sorry.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
I just asked about Prasadam.
Yeah,
she had a question first. So she can ask a question first, and I come back to you.
It's just one line I have to add this. Sorry, Mataji, class was really good. I feel fortunate to be here. And regarding this question which Prabhuji asked, I remember the verse 2751, scheduled incarnations of Krishna, right? So the last verse, Lord Brahma instructs Naradji, Tvam etad vipuli kuru, like you now expand this knowledge. So naturally in the spiritual world, all are Bhagavatas, like they are already in love of Krishna or Vishnu, right? So naturally the expansion of Bhagavatam was supposed to be done in the material world. So Naradji got the direct instruction of preaching Bhagavatam from Brahmaji. So I thought maybe that is one of the reason he mainly spends time in the material world. That is just my thought. I'm not sure how much this is appropriate or correct. 2751.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much for a nice comment. Yes.
Question is,
you can distribute the prasadam for me. I'm answering.
yeah,
Yes.
my question is, in the purport it said that Vyasadeva saw internal energy, external energy and marginal energy. So what did he actually see that make him say, oh, this is external energy, this is internal? How did he find that out?
Thank you. So internal energy was with Krishna, non-different, so together one packet. And external energy he saw separately. That means external energy is like shadow. She cannot stand in front of Krishna. So he saw the external energy behind him.
Did he see some objects, or means how do you say?
Everything is personified. You can say Durga. Durga is like giving the task, thankless task, to bind the material world. If you personify it, you can say Durga. But the external energy could be Bhumino Aponano Vayu Kammano Buddhi Evacha. All the material element also be material energy, and also three mode of material nature, Satguna, Tamoguna, Rajaguna. That can be also material energy.
So he saw kind of a universal form kind of thing, or?
He doesn't say that. He just said the external energy, and the external energy is personified Durga, and it works so wonderfully. So he saw how it works also. So that probably includes the universal form. It's not mentioned, but how it works, that means material world, everything, with all the universal structures and everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Regarding to the universal form, it said in a universal form description, there is a smiling face of Krishna. You see the Krishna in universal form from feet to the top. When you come to the smiling face of Krishna, that mitigates the suffering of the conditioned soul. So in the regard with Vishnu group, universal form, even the universal form has smiling face of Krishna that mitigate everyone's suffering. Just like yesterday, Guru Maharaj was talking about Lord Chaitanya came back to Jagannath Puri after South Indian tour. Then you see Jagannath, smiling face of Jagannath. Then all the material misery will be vanquished, the Jagannath smile. Who can be miserable in front of Jagannath's big smile? It's hard to become miserable. Like maybe you have experience. If your Guru Maharaj asks you, how are you? Maybe Prabhupada disciple has experience. If you are with spiritual master, if your Guru Maharaj asks, how are you? Even you have so much problem in your life. Yes, I'm happy, Guru Maharaj, no problem. It's not just saying, but actually you forget. Before that you have this problem, my children, my husband, my finance, my health, so many problems. But if you Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada, I have no problem, Guru Maharaj, I'm so happy to see you, by your mercy, everything okay. It's like that. It's naturally, it's like that. So we are going to have prasadam.
Mataji, you mentioned about how you so enthusiastically attend Abhishekam on festivals, even in summertime when it is so hot and everybody is sweating and the temple room is packed with devotees. So I also attend Abhishekam as a duty because I should. And when I see the streams of water falling on their lordships, it's a very welcome sight. However, I wanted to request, could you kindly share from your realization any pointers as to enthuse, to attend Abhishekam, how I can be attracted to attend Abhishekam more?
You see the Abhishek in Mayapur TV and you see on the spot, it's non-different. So I encourage everyone to watch in any station because we have social distance. So it's okay to attend in Mayapur TV if it's suitable for you, and it's okay to attend in person.
The point was, could you say something to get me attracted to attend Abhishekam? Anything philosophical to connect with the process of Abhishekam?
something it's more like experience. It's not like I have to do, like I should do. It's not the philosophical understanding, but then it's more like your experience draw you to, it was so nice, I want to do again. I want to come again. It's just so hot that I never want to do again, but then I want to go again. Like last time, I was thinking, it was so crowd packed. I thought this is the last time ever I come to the temple for Abhishek, and I will never come again. It's too much, so much pushing. But then again, Radhastami comes. 1 week before Radhastami, I was thinking, shall I come? Shall I not come? It's so crowded, not too crowded, thinking so much, and I come anyway. It's not so much like a philosophical aspect, but that experience bring you close. But still, Mayapur TV is good. Thanks to Mayapur TVs, many devotees are working hard to set up. I saw someone posted the lazy guy lying down on the sofa. Before, he was titled as Lazy Bum. But same lazy guy on the sofa, it said responsible adult now. So, yeah, time and circumstance, Krishna is absolute in any situation, but we should see the Abhishek. If there or here, like Abhishek, yesterday I was thinking, I don't like crowd, so I thought I will sit way behind. I don't like to wait also. So I thought I would just go on time, and if it's crowd, I will sit on the back, because I don't like waiting in a crowd. So I came on time, just Guru Maharaj started class. Then I saw crowd. I thought, okay, I will sit on the back. Then I saw just space right in front. And then to go backwards, I have to go through, walking through the crowd. So I thought, forget about the back. There's a space. I go there and I sat right in front, right in the middle. So it was so nice. It was not I didn't push myself, but then I got the place. And then Abhishek started, water splashed, and I was wearing this jacket. I got Charanamrita from Deity, full shower from the deities. It's nothing with philosophical understanding, but that experience was so amazing. And Kamala Gopala Prabhu's kirtan. Nityananda, Gauranga, Nityananda, Gauranga, Gauranga, Nityananda, Nityananda, Gauranga, Gauranga, Nityananda. So that was so good. It was amazing. So now we finish the class and take the prasadam and have a good day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo.